the Stone Age, humans have been developing the system. So it started with the barter trade. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So you have water, I have food. We both want each other's commodity, so we exchange some water for some food. However, why did the system stop and didn't continue and evolve to the second stage? Because you can notice here that we need a coincidence of wants. So what do we need here? We need me, who has water and hungry, needs food, and we need you to basically be thirsty and have the opposite of what I need, right? So we must have that need at a specific place at a specific time. So, like it must be a really big coincidence to run into someone who needs your stuff. So it used to be difficult. For example, I need water, you need food, I don't have food, so I go transact my water for food, you wait for me and I get back to you. So it's pretty complicated. So second stage, development of borrowing lending. So now we have money. Okay, so people realize barter trade is not going to be there forever. They invented money, which started with silver and gold, ended up with notes. Now it's crypto, you don't even see it anymore. Regardless of that, anything that has a value as a currency, we will consider currency. So we started to borrow from one another and pay back, and this is where riba evolved actually. So rich people became richer and poor people become poorer, and slavery began, so you buy and sell slaves, etc. So mostly direct financing here in this second stage. What do we mean by this? So when we say direct financing, we mean directly from lender to borrower. Okay, so I have money, I want to lend it to one of you, we must meet up, we must discuss it, and then we do it. So there is no intermediary. I ran into you, you told me your story, I offered you some help. So we call this direct financing. Now the third stage evolved even further, in which we now have intermediaries. So now, in the previous stage, it was me and you. Now we have something in between us, which is the bank. So now I don't need to know you to borrow your money. You don't need to know anything about me to lend me your money. Why? Because we have what's so-called intermediary. This intermediary, the bank, will protect both rights. So they will arrange this transaction between both of us. They will find the best way to do it without actually causing harm to any party. And we have retail banking. So now we specialize in different banking, corporate separate from retail, etc. And then we have the current stage, mature financial institutions, current scenario, as you can see, very developed. You need 1 year to understand derivatives nowadays. If you want to go and buy and sell derivatives, it's going to take you forever to see how many products we have around the world nowadays. So this is a chart to see the difference between the two. So in every economy, in short, we have surplus units, we have deficit units. Surplus units can be individuals, can be governments, and similarly, deficit units can be anyone. Same person can be deficit sometimes, can be in the surplus sometimes. For example, I used to save money, so I was a surplus unit before I got married. After getting married, having a kid, I started to spend more than what I earned, so I became a deficit. Similarly, governments, sometimes they have extra money, sometimes they have they're broke, right? They borrow money. Corporations, similarly, they face that, especially during Corona. Many corporations are not doing well. So now let's go back to direct financing. What's direct financing? Directly from me to you, from you to me. Okay, how do we do that? Through meeting up. And what is the assurance? Usually I know you, or someone would provide guarantee. We will not get into the details now, but let's assume You needed 1,000, so I lent you 1,000, you pay me back interest 7%, so 70 ringgit. Now, as we move to stage number 3, people would not really like to meet and talk about it and go after you, try to get my money if you don't pay on time. So banks were there, indirect. Now I don't need to know you, you don't need to see me. It's indirectly done through a bank intermediary. This bank will do what? Will arrange the work. We don't need to know one another anymore. The bank will do it through basically lending the money from me and borrowing the money from me, paying me interest, and lending you the money, receiving interest. But here you would notice that the interest would be different. So when the bank borrows from me, they pay me 5%. However, when they lend you the same money, they charge you 10. So this difference of 5 is basically supposed to be used by the bank to cover expenses, operations, utilities, rent. These banks, they have so many outlets, and of course keep some profit margin for themselves.